Kristen Oaks-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
For most people, raising honeybees seems dangerous enough. Though experienced beekeepers rarely get stung, the mere threat of being surrounded by bees keeps most people away.
For one Louisiana farmer, that danger was not enough. As Twila's Neil Melanson found out, a side career in pest removal has a pretty sharp downside.
At his farm in Gibson, Jude Verrett is calling the cows in for lunch. He loves the longhorns he has. Their dappled coats and signature crowns are a sight to behold. It's part of his love of animals that even extends to the creepy crawly ones. This is a Kenyan top bar hive, a style that is more than 100 years old and part of Jude's passion for beekeeping. It sits alongside more traditional beehives, some of which have been relocated from across South Louisiana. Even as he collects honey, Verrett collects jobs that are related to animals. One of his side professions is in pest control.
I would say I specialize in wasps and bees.
It definitely takes a specialist to sit next to a yellow jacket hive like this. It's at a nest at Kim Landry's home in Pierrepart, and due to its location, has to be removed. Verrett said despite the myth of their ferocity, yellow jackets are actually mostly docile.
They're very forgiving. You can sit right by them. They'll fly past you. They'll leave you alone. But if you have too much vibration, if you hit the nest, bump the nest, then they could kill you.
Since this is a removal, we have to suit up and take them out. True to Verrett's word, as soon as we really start to uncover the nest, Verrett estimates between 5,000 and 10,000 yellow jackets here. As he digs through the fire pile where the nest is, the pieces reveal a colony on the move.
See all the babies lined up? This nest was about to explode.
So mostly these things are swarming around. There is a smell to this that's just unmistakable. It's not like anything I've smelled before. It's a little sweet, it's a little like honey, and it's a pretty intense experience. They're all buzzing around, as you can hear.
And while I'm filming this, one of my gloves covered in yellow jackets was riding up towards the wrist, and sure enough,
Ow! I got stung.
I got stung. The yellow jacket sting is extremely painful, and unlike bees, they can sting repeatedly. It raises the question why Verrett would want to keep them around at all.
They eat all the grubs and worms, and that's what they feed on. And I really think if we didn't have wasps, that, that these pests that eat our gardens would be out of control.
Verrett said due to their combative nature, it's difficult to relocate yellow jackets, but he's going to try. Once all the nest is removed and piled up, it's time to spray the rest down with insecticide. He did manage to relocate a colony not long ago that made a nest in a wreath, and here he's cutting away at the bag that he brought it in back at his farm. It makes him happy, and he sees it as a vital part of nature.
Everything in this world that that God made has a purpose, and just to destroy something just to destroy it is not really what you want to do.
Busy as a bee describes Jude Verrett well, as he is off the farm helping to remove hornets as much as he is beekeeping. Since I filmed this story, he's had at least 2 more yellow jacket removals. If you're in South Louisiana and you have an infestation, I'll link you to him over on our website at twilatv.org. And guys, this was quite the experience. While I was filming, what had happened was my glove rode up, and that little creature got under it and stung me. He worked his way all the way past my hand to sting me right here. And as you can see, it's still swollen as compared to my other pinky. This is 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And it hurt. It hurt a lot.
Well, when you posted the picture on Facebook, your ring finger was swollen so much, I thought that's where it popped you, but you can still see where that little injection spot is. I mean, you must have been nicely swollen overall.
I was swollen here about twice the size, and it did go into my ring finger. I had secondary and tertiary, immune responses to it. But before we went on this, he said if I got stung, it would feel like being shot. And of course, that didn't help.
You've been shot a lot?
I've never been shot at, much less shot. But if that is what being shot is like, I highly advise avoiding it at all costs. Because it let me know as soon as it happened. And my instinct was to crush it. And I had killed it inside my glove, but man, that hurt. I've very rarely experienced pain like that.
It hurt, but did you die?
I didn't die, Kristen, but it was, you know, I mean, sacrificing my body for Twila. It was hot that day. I thought that would be enough.
I think that you should talk to your boss about hazard pay.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Oh, hazard pay.
Definitely.
No,
Yeah.
you got that $6 Subway sandwich. That was good. No, but let's talk about some good things that Yellow Jackets do. Let me play devil's advocate here.
Well, what he said was he likes them in his field. When he can, he relocates them to his farm because they are excellent, excellent pollinators, as good if not better than honeybees. And as long as you don't mess with the nest, they're fairly docile creatures, and much more docile than even honeybees are, who start reacting when you get close.
Right.
But unless you mess with them, they don't
they don't sting your
they don't
fingers.
sting you. They don't come
Just
after
not great
you.
glove mates, apparently.
Right. A friend of mine told me a story about he was working a field and he stood over one in the ground and it went up. They funneled up his pants leg. So I got lucky, relatively speaking. Yeah. I won't go into the intimate detail, shall we say, of that particular encounter, but I'm glad this was just a finger.
After this story, our Facebook page is going to be swarming with comments. Thank you very much,
Nice.
Neil Molasa.
Last week, about 50 women from across Louisiana gathered in Natchitoches for the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee Fall Conference.
As the Women's Leadership Committee Chair, Denise Canatella, tells us, this trip highlighted a commodity that is all over the state. The group got a ground-shaking look at how a fall treat falls from the sky at harvest.
Today we are visiting the surrounding Natchitoches area where we can experience the various agriculture that they have out in this area. We are fortunate today to visit the Natchitoches Pecans Company, which is formerly Little Eva Plantation. And we learned the history surrounding Little Eva and how the owners now have come to acquire their section of this plantation that they now call Natchitoches Pecans. Most of Louisiana has pecan trees, but we got to see a true plantation where there's rows and rows of them, many acres, and how they shake the tree when it's time, how they care for the trees over the time, the growing period of the pecan, and then also how they harvest it. And then they brought us into their warehouse and showed us exactly from the field to what you see in their store right here on the side of me, the process that it takes to get the pecans here. Some of these trees, which I know most of us never really think about spraying our trees for fungus. We know about the pests, the worms, the webs that grow in the trees, but I don't know too many people, I know I didn't, ever thought of a fungus growing on the trees and affecting the outcome of the harvest. So they've had, they have to spray and maintain, and they've come to find out that some of these trees that have been here for over 50 years are highly susceptible to fungus. So they've had to work with various pecan experts and learn on the best ways to handle and manage their crop for a better outcome at the harvest. I find that through all of these tours that we're doing, as I get to experience each different crop that Louisiana has, I find how interesting it is that we do all fight the same type of battles, just maybe in a little bit of a different twist. But our weather seems to be one of the biggest issues that we have because of our wet seasons all the time. We were all prone to pest and to fungus, different kinds of diseases, and they're all needing to have us help them to produce the best outcome that they can in order for us to be able to make a living at what we love to do.
According to the LSU Ag Center's Ag Summary, there are almost 26,000 acres of pecans in Louisiana, creating more than $11 million of value to the state's economy. If you want to learn more about Natchitoches pecans, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Well, once a hot spot for pond-raised catfish, Franklin Parish is still well known across the state for the impact herring pride catfish has on the state and local economy.
That's why fried catfish is the obvious choice for dinner at the annual Franklin Parish Farmers Appreciation Banquet. Cotton, corn, soybeans, and sweet potatoes occupy most farmland in the community now. According to the LSU Ag Center, plant-based commodities are valued at more than $134 million in the parish. As president of the Winsboro Franklin Parish Chamber, Laura Hassel explains, farmers are the lifeblood of their economy.
They touch every part of our economy here. The bankers, the accountants, the people who sell the supplies, the gasoline, everything revolves around farming. And we want to honor them because they are such a huge part of the community. They are such an important part of the business community.
The two crops that covered the landscape in Franklin Parish this past year were corn and soybeans, accounting for more than 138,000 acres of farmland. Well, only 30% of you are making time to gather around the table and eat dinner together each week. That's according to the Dairy Alliance.
Which is why October is Eat Together Month, and the Dairy Alliance is adding to that a little caveat: eat together, eat better with dairy. Mary Martin Nordness is the Director of Food and Nutrition Outreach for the Dairy Alliance. She says children benefit most when families eat together. That's because they do better in school, have better social and communication skills, and are physically healthier. Nordness knows that time is the main reason why families do not always eat together, so she says you can follow the 3 P's to make it easier to sit down as a family for dinner. The first P is plan. Map out your meals for the week. The second is plate. Use the USDA My Plate as a guide to plate your meals. The third is prep. Get everything ready to make cooking easier. Of course, that should include dairy. Nordness says there is some anecdotal evidence for why you should have dairy at every meal.
Pediatricians tell me that since families are not drinking as much milk, they see more broken bones, more fractures. And so we know that calcium in dairy products, we know that calcium is in dairy products, but it's not just the calcium, it's the calcium and the vitamin D that's sort of like a lock and key that makes good, strong bones. But there's also, milk provides a delivery system of non-essential nutrients. It's not just calcium, it's not just vitamin D, but there are other wonderful things. And if you have a small child, I still recommend whole milk as a dietitian for them because of those lipids, the fat that's in the whole milk helps with brain development.
To learn more about October Eat Together, Eat Better with Dairy Month, visit our website at twilatv.org and we'll link you to the Dairy Alliance. There you'll find some really cool recipes, including one for a butternut squash lasagna that sounds amazing, topped with mozzarella cheese, and sounds so good. And the crazy thing is, I want to see if I can sneak it past my boys.
Well, I don't know about butternut squash, but I will tell you, I am a firm believer in spaghetti squash this year because I tried cooking spaghetti squash for the first time. It wasn't very healthy. It had cream cheese and mozzarella
But it's so
cheese.
easy.
But
it's so easy.
And it tastes so good.
Yes, it does.
It really does taste like pasta.
But back to dairy, we go through about 3 gallons a week at my house because every morning starts with a chocolate milk in front of the TV and ends with a chocolate milk in front of the TV.
Well, you're supporting the dairy industry on your family alone. Well, we've always seen a connection between military service and farming. Both provide value to the country and the world, as well as a sense of purpose for those involved.
One veteran in Louisiana, Brandon Bro, returned from service to farm in Washington, Louisiana. As Twila's Taylor Fry tells us, that same discipline in the military is finding fertile soil here at home.
Joined the military late in life. It was a call that I'd wanted to do for quite some time.
CW3 Bro was his rank. Brandon Bro flew OH-58 Delta Kiowa Warrior helicopters in Iraq.
War happened and started having Gulf War syndromes, and I got permanently grounded from flying as an aviator.
Not at all what Bro or his family expected, but it has taken them down a dirt road they now call home. Two years ago, Brandon purchased this property and is now raising his family on it.
So, it's kind of a funny story too.
He and his wife Lauren find humor in this situation because farming a few years ago was nowhere on their radar.
We had a plan. We thought we were going to be a military couple. We thought he was going to fly forever.
Had a colleague that was talking about the cows that he had on his farm, and with the unknown future that I had, I needed to take a step back, focus on my health, and what better way to do that than bring my family together on a small farm.
And instead of letting their situation define them, they've embraced it, even naming their farm after it.
Discombobulation disorientation is one of the side effects of his headaches, and he told me that one day. He was driving around, he's like, babe, I've been cockeyed for like a year. This is crazy. So when we found this piece of property, when we started looking at it, this barn that I'm sitting in front of was actually, you couldn't even see it. It was completely grown up with brush. But when you actually did look at the structure, you could see that it's leaning to the side. So even the barn's cockeyed. So that's where the name Cockeyed Farms comes from.
In addition to Brandon's health and the cockeyed barn, Lauren says even the way they want to farm is a little cockeyed too.
You know, we want to head in the sustainably grown, organic certified direction, and that's something that's different. That's something that's a little cockeyed too.
Really feel a whole lot better. I got off the pharmaceuticals that all the doctors wanted me to do, and I really found that what we were eating was probably the largest part of how my health and family would feel. So we're going to try our hand at organic berry farming to start, and then we'll see if that works right there. They're talking about digging a lake right here, not a pond, a lake. So I'm first generation, you know, I'm literally making all this stuff up as I go and just relying on trying to find some subject matter experts out there to really guide me and mentor me.
Which is why Cockeyed Farm partnered with the Natural Resource Conservation Service and the Louisiana Grazing Lands Coalition Initiative to host this pasture walk.
Us as NRCS people, we have a lot to learn on how to work with particularly veterans like Brandon that are recently out of the military, you know, served active duty, several tours in different places around the world.
They will climb, they'll do anything.
Today we were able to bring about a dozen people together that are experienced in not only being producers themselves, but we had some NRCS people here, like myself, that have some technical expertise from years of working with producers, providing technical assistance on farms and ranches.
It's really two great groups of people just trying to put farmers together, and anybody else who is just starting out, and show them, hey, there's other people out here that are just now starting to create this magnificent farm that these other guys have done. I went from flying helicopters to, hey, I'm gonna learn about cows. I've never flown a helicopter before, and I learned how to do that, so I figured I could figure out how to make two cows get together and eat some grass and produce some income for me.
I admire the attitude of Brandon and Lauren. I admire them for taking the initiative to do it. They're not just talking about it, they're doing it.
You know, with the right family support and a little bit of persistence, can go out there and slowly, sooner rather than later, develop that beautiful farm as well.
In Washington, Louisiana, this is Taylor Fry for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
The Bros are in the process of preparing the land to plant berries sometime next year with hopes to market products statewide. Still to come on Twila, we take you to Louisiana for a spotlight on agritourism.
But first, sweet potato harvest is in full swing. We'll find out what this wet weather is doing to the state's crop. Stay with us.
I'm a farmer.
I am a farm wife.
I am a cowboy.
I am a grass farmer.
I'm a businesswoman.
I'm a conservationist.
I am an advocate.
I am a voice for Louisiana farmers.
I'm always learning.
I'm a husband.
I'm a mom.
I am a dad.
I'm a granddad.
I am a consumer.
I grow the food that feeds your family, and I'm proud of it. I am Farm Bureau.
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 We are Farm Bureau.
I now hope they're fighting today.
I hope they are.
Loose.
Find your place in the country and the lender who can get you there. Find Louisiana Land Bank. Financing for country homes, recreational property, farms and ranches, and agribusiness.
Louisiana oysters, salty, sweet, and delicious. But have you ever thought about what happens to all those oyster shells? Most of them end up in trash cans and landfills. The Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana is changing this with its oyster shell recycling program, and you can help by visiting these participating restaurants. It's a simple and delicious way to restore our coast. The shells will then be used to sustain and rebuild oyster reefs. Remember, once you shuck them, don't just chuck them.
Do you feel that, Avery?
It's always chilly here in the studio.
Well, I think there is a cool front actually on the way. That means it's a great time for us to get out and do some agritourism.
We've introduced you to Louisiana Land and A-Meet before. In the spring, they have strawberries to pick, animals to pet, seeds to plant, and so much more. But there's more to do in the fall. Every Saturday in October, Louisiana Land is open for a day of fun for all ages. Admission includes taking home your own pumpkin, a trip through the corn maze, and lots of other games. That's not all, though. On Saturday, October 27th, Louisiana Land will be a sweet spot to spend the day. Children are invited to dress up in their Halloween costumes and visit Louisiana Land for a day of trick-or-treating fun. There will, of course, be games, lots of pumpkins, and a good time will be had by all. Admission for children is $10 and $5 for adults. To plan your trip to Louisiana Land or to plan a wedding, as Carl Wiggers did, visit our website at twilatv.org. This cooler weather also means Louisiana sweet potato farmers are getting into their fields to harvest. Yields have been good, but acreage is down.
As Twila's Craig Gautreaux tells us, farmers in Morehouse Parish are approaching the midpoint of their harvest.
Sweet potato farmers were finally able to get in their fields and harvest what is shaping up to be a very good crop for most growers. Rain and a shortage of harvest crews delayed producers, but they are now full into their harvest, and many are encouraged by first-rate yields.
Yields, we're hearing some extra good yields, and then some others saying they're off slightly from where they were last year, but it's still decent yields.
In Louisiana, sweet potato growers have two choices for their product: the fresh market or a sweet potato processing plant.
A lot of growers have left the fresh market entirely and went to processing, and they are comfortable with the economic picture that it paints for them.
Vinoy Kennard grows strictly for the processing market. He says the fresh market is not as consistent as the processing side, and it is more costly to produce a fresh market potato.
It makes it so much easier on us. We know what we're going to get for the potatoes, and I really wouldn't be farming them right now if it wasn't for that, because it's so much harder to fresh market them.
One area of concern regarding sweet potatoes in Louisiana is the decrease in acreage. The 2018 crop has seen nearly a 20% reduction.
Last year we had about 9,200 acres. This year, according to reports, we got about 7,700 acres. And that's attributed some to some growers cutting some acreage back and some retirements.
With the yield of this year's crop in Louisiana, consumers should have no problem finding fresh sweet potatoes. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
Last year, Louisiana farmers produced nearly 4 million bushels of sweet potatoes with a total production value of nearly $93 million.
Still to come on Twila. Your Twila Boost this week will be moving.
And he means that literally, folks. I'm a little jealous of Annie here, who might soon have some more Facebook friends than all of us combined. Stay with us.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Landowners are minding the Louisiana forest for our grandchildren. A place for wildlife, recreation, lumber for homes. It's the right thing to do. Forestry, covering half our state, all of our hearts.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Before you sweeten your morning joe, before the icing on the cake, before the sugar hits the shelf, it begins with a family of sugarcane farmers dedicated to growing Louisiana for more than 220 years. The Sugarcane Growers of Louisiana, making life sweeter, naturally.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane.
I think it's time for a little boost. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Now, Kristen, I know that you grew up showing cows all over the country, but how many times did your cattle ride in the cab of the truck with you?
I can say that is a firm never. But that's not the case for one Ohio man. Last week, J.D. Blair had to do a double take after he saw a cow sticking its head out of the back window of a pickup truck. That's right, a cow. So, like any of us would do, J.D. took out his phone to document the shotgun riding cow.
After sharing the video with some friends, one of them shared it on his Facebook page, and now people from all over the world are seeing the video and sharing it. As of Wednesday morning, the video has more than 460,000 shares and nearly 20 million views.
20. The 18-month-old Holstein cow is named Annie, and she weighs about 800 pounds and regularly rides in the back seat. Corey Morris is the man driving who drives Miss Annie around town. Morris said Annie's mother rejected her at birth, so he began taking care of her when she was just a day old. Morris said he always gets questions from people about her riding in the truck, to which he replies, "Where else would I put her?" He says he just opens the door and she climbs right on in. They regularly go on rides together to McDonald's where Annie will get an ice cream, one of her favorite treats.
Annie is so popular, she now has her own Facebook page called Annie the Highway Cow, which will document her rides around the area. We posted a link to her Facebook page on our website at twilatv.org. However, I wonder if she gets upset going to McDonald's. I mean, you know what's in the burger.
Not
Just
a Holstein,
saying.
Come on now. Maybe the cheese.
Maybe the cheese. Maybe the cheese.
Moving on. That does it for this edition of Twila. Be sure to join us next week when AJ Sabine will bring us the savory and the sweet with another feasting on agriculture you won't want to miss.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and on Instagram.
For all of us here at Twila, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.